record.
Perfect.
All right, we're recording. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. Tonight we are joined by Mr. Matt Robertson, Mr. Onum Fishing, for those who do not know. But Andy, what's going on, dude?
Oh, not much. Third, what is this? 3 in a row for us. This might be a new record in a week.
3 nights in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
We're rolling.
Heck yeah. Not a whole lot. I'm trying to figure out how I want to install my new graphs that are on the way. So, yeah, it's fun times. Endless hours of research.
Yeah, Andy has a dilemma on what mounts to purchase for his new graphs that he ordered. So if anybody has any recommendations, because he is, what's your dilemma? You don't want to spend too much, but you're petrified of them falling off.
No, falling off, and I don't know if I want to put the 12 up front or the 9 on the console or the 9 up front on the bow or the 12 on the console. I don't know what I want to do. I'll probably buy them once they come in and figure it out.
So y'all can tell me if I'm crazy, but my theory, the way I look at it, you put the 12 on the front, on the dash, and you put the 9 up front by the trolling motor, because the 12, when you're graphing, you're going to have a bigger screen, therefore you're going to see more detail, whereas the 9, like you mentioned, you're probably just going to use it for 2D, throw it up front, you'll be just fine. I mean, in my head, that makes sense. But
that's the way I'm probably going. But I'm just like, oh, but this and that, shit happens. Whatever. On to the next thing. Thank you, Douglas.
Yep. Let's see, Andy. We're gonna leave the sponsors to you tonight.
Yeah. Hobie for Bailey, Morgan Marine.
Because he's trying to point around the screen. If you guys listen on podcast applications, we highly recommend the YouTube experience. It's quite a trip.
Especially when I'm like pointing to stuff on a Navionics chart and I'm nowhere near it. Yeah, it's good times.
Right.
And for the big news that's coming shortly, thank you to all of them. We can't do it without them.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, without further ado, Mr. Matt Robertson, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much, fellas. Hanging out in the trailer park, That's about it. What?
Another day in the life.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that we can get you down and start talking fishing. It sounds like you've had one hell of a day. But it sounds like you've had a hell of a 2020, man. More crazier 2020 than the rest of us had.
Yeah, it's been a train wreck, dude. The last month, I mean, it's unreal. Like you think the train wreck's going to stop sometimes, but then it keeps on going. Oh, God.
Probably getting tired of reliving the train wreck, too.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's insane.
Well, real quick, before we dive into everything, for people who may not know, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into bass fishing. What was that first fish, like that first fish catch, that whole story? Who got you into it? Whole 9 yards.
Yeah, so, man, I actually grew up and I started fishing in San Diego. And I lived in San Diego till I was about 10 or so. And I started fishing with my grandparents. And me and my grandma and my granddad would go to a lake called Lake Hodges out there. And they were big crappie fishermen. My granddad bass fished some. And man, actually the first bass I caught was on a minnow crappie fishing. And I'm not going to say that's what got me hooked, but it's just all I've ever known. And whenever we moved from San Diego to Kentucky, and my granddad was going off with my cousin Terry every weekend, to some club tournaments. And every morning I'd hear my granddad get up, and we was upstairs and his room was next to mine, and he'd go downstairs and get ready. And I'd open up the window and I'd watch him and my cousin Terry leave to go to the tournament. And I was like, man, I wished I was going. And so I tried to talk him into, letting me fish, but he was pretty committed to, they were fishing partners. So my grandma stepped up, and my grandma's pretty hardcore now. And she told me she'd fish, and we started, I fished my first tournament whenever I was 11 out of a 16.5-foot bass tracker with a 45 horse. It was like a high 39 degrees that day, dude, 20-mile-an-hour winds. And she was a trooper. I caught Dude, the very first fish I caught in the tournament was a 2 3/4 pound smallmouth on a rattle trap. And dude, I thought I was king of the world. I thought I was going to win this tournament with this one fish, you know. And of course, I got a beat down, but I actually still have the picture of that fish. But
it's awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah,
So where was that tournament at with high 30s and 20-mile-an-hour winds?
It was like the first week of March at a Ken Lake on Kentucky Lake. It was cold, man.
Yeah. Where's your home lake? What do you call your home waters?
I call my home waters Kentucky and Barkley. I cut my teeth on a few other smaller bodies of water, and the rivers below the dams and whatnot. So I kind of had some good diverse fisheries to grow up fishing. Two small lakes. They're about 800 to 1,000 acres. Lake Malone and Lake Bashirs. They have a bunch of willow grass lay downs. Both of them are made up of 2 main arms, and you can brush pile fish in the summertime, and then go up shallow in the willow grass and do that stuff. And that's really where I got my best. I'm gonna say my all around game, as far as fishing is, because Kentucky and Barkley, most people around here, they just fish Kentucky and Barkley, and you get that offshore deal going, and you get good at that. But I think a lot of people, tend to struggle going to other fisheries that only fish Kentucky Lake because they haven't been able to implement these other ways of fishing into their, arsenal.
Right. How is Kentucky Lake doing?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that.
Yeah,
it sucks.
And Barkley.
It sucks.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it sucks. Man, actually, a guy that helped me out at Hartwell that rode me in the first day whenever I broke down, John Garrett, he came back and done pretty good in the tournament. It's taken 15. It ain't been taking 20 pounds to win, 15, 16 pounds to win a tournament. But, dude, the weights drop off brutal. Like, it goes down.
Sheesh.
There's not very many limits weighed in, but they are starting to catch some, big fish on top water and stuff this fall. John Garrett had a 6 1/4 pound smallie, so I mean, but listen, the bait's there and the little fish are there. It's coming back in 2 years, 3 years at the most. I'm telling you, this lake is going to be off the chart again. Guarantee it, 100%.
So, do you think like the fish population decreasing rapidly was because of the Asian carp invasion, or is it because of all those larger tournaments that happened when it was hot from like 2009 to 2013 and there was a lot of fish kill?
Man, I think I got a little. I've thought about it a lot, and now that we're seeing bait in the lake again, like we have shad all over the lake. With the exception of this year, man, honestly, I haven't seen those bait balls out there in probably 7 years. And I think the lack of shad, caused a down cycle in the lake. And I think the Asian carp coming on as strong as they did, I think it hurt the ability for the shad population to come back. And I think it was just a big combination of all of it. The Asian carp aren't helping anything. You know? But I think it's a combination of all of it. The tournaments, the dead fish in the tournaments, whenever you have a small fish population like we do, any fish dying is detrimental. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Everybody's doing 3 fish limits here now, just about, with the exception of a few. And I got to say, I hate 3 fish limits, but for the lake, it needs to be done.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. So when Kentucky Lake was in its prime, I don't know if the numbers have gone down, but how many tournaments a season would you say were running out of Kentucky Lake a year?
Oh gosh, dude, man! If you include the Tuesday nighters and everything,
every weekend we talking?
Yeah, like weekends. there was a tournament close to every weekend. I'm gonna say 48 out of 52 weekends there was tournaments, and a lot of those, man, I remember, 10 years ago, you could come out here and every single weekend you could go out on the lake and fish for $3,000 every weekend in an open tournament. Every weekend you fish for big money.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, but it's just, and I think we've kind of seen, I think a lot of places the tournaments have died down, but yeah, I think it's going to take a while to see that again here. It's just, man, it's devastated the area. It really has.
That's
But
pretty
they'll want to
cool.
come back.
Yeah. That's kind of nuts thinking about that. If you said like every weekend you could compete for $3,000, because that, like, if you think about it, and you can be very successful on a particular lake and have that opportunity, you could live off of fishing local.
Oh no, dude! I was doing it for a while.
That's
I
awesome.
honestly, I was banking on income off of fishing to pay the bills, and the tournaments even. That's kind of the reason I stepped up and started doing the opens. I even discussed it with my partner. I said, "Dude, the stuff's leaving. We ain't gonna have nothing to fish for. I got to go try it now." And But dude, I'm telling you, the lake's coming back. It's going to take these. By the time the tournaments do come back, this lake will be putting out. It'll be just like before, or even better. It's going to be insane.
That's great to hear. Yeah.
Well, we had a similar situation with one of our lakes, famed Cayuga Lake, in the early 2000s. Had a major fish die off, and it took, I don't know, 12 years probably for it to come back and be good again. So every lake has its cycle. Right now we're going through Oneida Lake up here is way down. So I'm glad you guys didn't come up here for the open. Oh yeah, big fish kill the last couple of years.
So, I was up there last year, and I heard, like, I'd never been to a northern smallmouth fishery. One of these where you go up there and catch them. Mm-hmm. And I thought, man, this is going to be fun. And I went up there, and it's pretty brutal fishing.
Oh, Oneida is nothing compared to any other lake in the state. It's its own beast.
Yeah,
that's also what I've been told.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the best way to describe, in my opinion, and I could be wrong because I haven't spent too much time out there, that Oneida smallmouth are kind of comparable to like a blueback herring lake, with the way those smallmouth move and be there one day and gone the next. I think that's probably the best way to kind of compare them. But they're doing well. It's taken 20 pounds to win tournaments out there recently, which
finally
is really
again. Yeah.
You can tell that fall bite's definitely heating up, and it's good to know that those fish are still there. It's just, it's been August is always brutal here. Always brutal.
Is it 20 pounds of smallies, or are they catching largemouth, or
20 pounds of smallies again? Yep.
You can either find a mixed. You can get on a big bag of just largemouth, and you can get on a big bag of just smallmouth. That's what's pretty cool about it. All of our Finger Lakes are that way too, which is pretty sweet. But the majority of the year, besides like late July and August, it's usually really good. Yeah. Those months are just absolutely horrible. We had a Bass Nation Fed tournament up here on Cayuga, and I got 10th as a co-angler with one fish for 2 pounds.
Oh, dude, that's
4
bad.
pounds.
That sounds like
4 pounds was 5th for a boater, I believe.
That sounds like Kentucky Lake. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Like
it's
man.
When our lakes
I got some
get
buddies
tough,
that really like Cayuga.
Oh, it's an awesome lake up until about mid-August.
Yeah.
Once you hit mid-August, it goes crap real fast. It's got to be something to do with like Year of Young Shad, and that's the only thing I can think of, because same thing happens with Oneida. Is all the baby perch and gizzard shad and whatever else is in there, they're all just prime time to be eaten at like that 1 to 2 inch mark, and that's all they eat. So they get real tough to eat. So I'd assume it's got to be the same thing with most of the other Finger Lakes and bodies of water that are similar with like alewives and gizzards. So,
I'm not a big fan of the alewives. There's a lake here, Green River Lake, they put them in, and it seems like the alewives, they're like a retard fish to me. I'll be honest with you. They just kind of roam around and they pull
really
the bass off of stuff. And it's like, come on, dude, give us a rhyme or reason for something so we can catch some fish, not just, sit out here and wait on them to swim by. So,
yeah, it's hard to depend on a pattern where your foot is on the trolling motor all day and you're just scanning with Panoptics. That does not sound like it's not a reliable plan in any sort of tournament. It's a spur of the moment, see him busting or see him on the graph sort of deal. However, it's tough. It's very tough.
Doubt.
Yeah. But that being said, like what's your strength when it comes to bass fishing? Like what is something that you can always resort to when you're on the water, whether it be fun fishing or on derby day?
Man, I'm a swim baiter, 100% swim baiter. Like whether it's throwing a little kayak style swim bait or a big bass tricks or a big Scott's burl or even glide baits, man. Like I have a lot of glide baits in my tournament arsenal, and I know a lot of tournament anglers, haven't really brought that in as a tournament weapon. I would say it's a fun fishing deal, but actually using it in tournaments, man, I like I said, if I go into a tournament and I'm able to throw a swim bait, and I can catch something on it, you're in trouble. But like just going different places, catch-alls, a swim jig, man. A swim jig, a bitsy flip. If I need to get bit, a swim jig and a bitsy flip, I'll pull them out, and dude, I can always bank on them.
It's interesting. Not many people talk about the bitsy flip jig, so dude,
it is honestly the baddest jig I've ever thrown in my life. I've been buying them from Walmart for $2 for 20 years.
I was saying $1.97.
So yeah, it's like keep on bringing them on. Don't raise the price.
Right.
I'm not for sure about this, but I had heard that Strike King's #1 bait. Now I'm not for sure about that, but I had heard that.
Like #1 selling.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I have no idea. That'd be interesting.
It would have to be.
I could find out.
Because I can see just like the random person walking into Walmart and being like, "Oh, this is sweet. Let me buy a few of them." And then the next person walks by and be like, "Why are you buying those?" Those Zebco 202 guys tend to follow the same steps and follow each other through the Walmart line to buy the same thing the next 4 guys are. So,
yeah, dude, I used to fish with so much stuff from Walmart. Like I seen these people fishing with Walmart wraps, like Mark Rose and some guys, and I'm like, dude, I need the damn Walmart wrap. Because I was literally fishing out of Walmart bags. Our rods, reels, everything was from Walmart. Need some 6XDs? Go to Walmart. $2 Epco line, it didn't matter. We was fishing, cheap.
Right.
And we was doing good, dude. We was catching
mono's
them.
mono.
That's right. It ain't
Mono
gonna break.
Mono.
That's funny. Well, you got to think about it too. It's like, when people ask you all the time, like what are they biting? And if you don't really want to tell them, be like, oh, a jig. And they go to Walmart and be like, oh, the jig's less than $2. Pick that one up, and rather than seeing all these $3, $4 jigs. Yeah, that could be just an easy swim pickings for a bitsy flip.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you really can't go wrong with the bitsy flips. I mean, they're killers everywhere. Whenever I go to a river system, like the river systems I've been to, it's like I always have this preconceived notion about the bitsy flip anyway, but I catch them on it every single time I go. I'm fixing to go Nelly Henry. I'm telling you, I promise you I'll catch them on that jig. Guaranteed.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah. That's the jig I learned how to throw a jig on. Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. That's funny.
Good old bitsy
so that
flip.
being said, then, like, what's your biggest weakness? Like something that you kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, I got to get better at that, or you're going to a tournament, you're like, crap, like this is going to be the pattern, and that's something I need to work on, that sort of deal.
Yeah, man, it's probably actually like a shaky head worm or drop shotting.
So
I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Whenever we go, if I was to go to the Great Lakes, I would be all right with it, But but like whenever you're on a fishery where you can power fish,
right?
I just have trouble just veering towards that. Like I have to catch nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm. You're a living
my my weakness is definitely finesse fishing.
It's not a horrible thing.
No, you
You're
know,
going for that big bite, so
yeah. And dude, listen, like I've had people ask me, like, you know, what should I throw, this or that, and I'm like, guys, you need to. The way you get really good at this game is you go out there and you develop your style of fishing. Okay, like y'all, both of y'all's style of fishing is going to be different than mine. I'm a swim baiter, you know, and but just because swim baits work for me doesn't mean they're going to work for you. Your deal may be finesse fishing, and I tell them, I said, find out what you like, find out what you're good at, you know, and then become the best at it. You may not win every tournament, but I'm telling you, if you become a jig, if you like throwing a jig and you get to be the best at throwing a jig, whenever it's time, you're going to blow the socks off everybody and you're going to win, you know? And to me, that's how you know you really get good at developing your own personal style of fishing.
no doubt.
Yeah, I think that's actually a hard concept for a lot of people, is because people love to follow doc talk and they want to just divulge in what everybody else is doing. So they have to go out and experiment with 10,000 colors of this bait and 15 different style of jigs. I have a buddy and I'm like, listen, grab 3 rods, put them on the deck and just fish those 3 rods until you're comfortable and you can catch 5 to 10, 15 fish every time you go out, and don't deviate from it. And he still goes out and takes 30 rods, puts them on the deck, and he zeros in tournaments, and I feel terrible for him. But I'm just like, you need to simplify. So
well, you do see now and then where it's like you'll hear some guys talking and be like, you know, head over to this area and throw this, right? And they'll do that, but they won't catch anything. It's because realistically, you're working that bait entirely different than what that person was. You're making that different cast. But when you go back to your confidence bait, then you start getting bites, right?
That's right.
What you're comfortable with. It's such an interesting concept too, because people are like, "Oh, you go here, and the only way you're going to get bit is on this." But then you go there and you'll throw it. It won't work. You'll go back to something you know how to work, and then
you'll catch them.
Bites, right?
Yeah, you know, a couple years ago, whenever I won that Bass Nation team trail down in Florida on the Harris chain, like, nobody threw a big swim bait down there. Nobody. Tackle stores didn't even have swim baits. They had the little gambler swim baits, but like they didn't have nothing else. The little tackle store there in town, the Cane Pole, they or Brooker's, they had some old Shadowlicious, and buddy, let me tell you something. They sold out of them in about an hour because I was down there. I went down there every afternoon to hang out with them anyway, so I went down there that afternoon after I won, and they were all gone, you know. And
oops.
But yeah. So, but dude, yeah, it's just I don't care where you go to. If you go to Florida, you're not supposed to throw, you know, a big 6XD, a 1 ounce spinner bait, and a 1 ounce swim bait. But think outside the box a little bit, and every once in a while, it's going to be rewarding.
Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of watching Mikey Ball's YouTube channel, kind of see how he breaks different things down. And he debunks every Florida stereotype when it comes to fishing.
That ain't no doubt, man.
Throwing big plugs, hair jigs. I mean, look, Jordan Lee just won the heavy hitters on a hair jig. I mean, something that no one would ever
doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's wild. But next month, I'm headed down to – I'm still stuck in the kayak, but I'm going down to fish a Bass Nation National Kayak Derby on Lake Chickamauga. And that's the one thing I'm really excited for, is for after my day on the waters to go visit some of the tackle shops down there, because they're probably way better than they are up here.
Yeah, man, there's a couple of them good at Chickamauga. Man, I'm actually a little more impressed with the ones around Gunnersville. But Chickamauga's got some good ones, you know. Hog Farmers is up there at Chickamauga. I mean, there's some good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Chickamauga has giants.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. Still, I've never been on a TVA system before, so I'm pretty excited to kind of get to learn that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's going to be a blast. But also, just to you bring up Gunnersville tackle shops, and I had gone down to the Classic with Douglas, and I had driven their van down for him, brought all the rods and everything. And GTO was the one tackle shop I did stop at because I just had to. And I got lost in that place for probably 2-3 hours. It was unbelievable, but it's cool to see. And I'm interested why the tackle shops down there. And Andy, you can kind of attest to this as well. As at least in the Northeast, our tackle shops, like the smaller ones, aren't crazy good like they are down south. I mean, we're stuck to like the Bass Pros and ordering from Tackle Warehouse for the majority.
I think can you hear me all right? I had
to
swap.
Yeah.
I put my phone charger on because my phone started sucking down with these new plug-ins. My bad, dude. Like
You're good. No worries.
You're good. We can still hear you. But I mean, our tackle shops up here are so actually geared to like walleye fishing, salmon, and steelhead that we have a very almost underutilized bass fishery in New York, in my opinion. Like we have a couple good ones, like the one in Oneida, Thousand Island Bait and Tackle. Like come to mind, those are really the two best that I can think of, and even Thousand Island Bait and Tackle still isn't even that good on the St. Lawrence. Like a lot of it is junk, and they have a couple good things.
I think Lakeside Outfitters is probably the best one I found.
Yeah, that's Oneida, right? Yeah. They have a good stock.
Yeah. What were you saying, Matt?
I think the reason the tackle stores are so much better down here is because, man, I'm telling you, like I didn't realize the amount of tourists like Chickamauga gets. I mean, you can go down there any given weekend, and there's 300 boats on the water. Like even in the wintertime, that's even worse in the winter. There is 200 to 300 boats coming from out of town every weekend. Gunnersville, man, it's the tourists bringing in the money, and they come down there expecting to catch all these big fish and catch a bunch of fish. And whenever people go on vacation like that, they're going to spend the money, dude. Like,
it's true.
You can't tell me anybody that goes on vacation that even watches their pocketbook while they're there. They're going spending it, buddy.
They just swipe the credit card and worry about it later.
I got a buddy who's in business on vacation stuff, and he's the one who told me about that. And I never even paid attention. He's like, whenever you go to Florida, he said, it doesn't matter what it costs. You go do it. You go eat food. It doesn't matter. You pay for it. You know, I was like, got a point.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's funny, if I were to travel down there, which I would like to eventually, I feel like I would stay away from like the mainstay lakes and try to find like hidden gems, smaller bodies of water. They have less pressure because I almost feel like your percentage of catching a giant is better because there's less pressure on them. So.
Oh yeah, that's the way it is here. That Lake Bashir's, it's it is unreal, the fish that are in there. Like that's my glide bait. Like I go out there and I chuck a glide bait all day, and I won't just catch one or two. I'll catch 25 or 30 pounds. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's it? Good. Do you have like a go? Are you like a swim bait junkie then, or is there like a go-to that you kind of like an old reliable glide bait or swim bait that you like to throw?
Man, I got to tell you, like out of all the glide baits, I have, well, before my stuff got stolen, I had, you know, you name it, I had it. And God, I hate saying this because I sound so cheap in the swim bait world, and all the people who throw the depths 250s and, you know, all this, you know, kind of crap on you for it. But that S flavor is bad, you know. Yeah. That flavor is a bad glide bait, and I'm serious. Like, it may be the worst looking one in the water. It don't have a big, nice S glide, but it's like I tell people, you want to see followers, throw you one that has a big S to it. If you want to catch fish, throw that S flavor. You know?
Yeah. That is the only glide bait that I own. Is the S flavor.
Because it works. Honestly, fish on it than any other one ever.
Yeah. That
Got
swim bait
big
game
ones.
is just so freaking expensive. All of them. Like once you
Oh my
start getting
God.
depths and megabass and Roman
It's
maids,
brutal.
it's just insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never had a Roman maid mother. I had a Roman maid negotiator. Now I'll tell you this about the negotiator. I would get more followers on the negotiator. Like I could see more fish. They would be drawn to that bait more than any other glide bait I had. Even the Hinkle trout or the Depths 250s, um, they would be drawn to that negotiator more. Now, if you talk big swim baits, the Depths 250 is by far the best fish catcher, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Interesting. So if you had to venture out of your home lakes to go like say fun fish, you want to just go, you just want to go beat up on some fish for a couple of days. Where's your destination? Where are you going?
I gotta tell you, this is gonna sound horrible, okay? But I'm going saltwater fishing. So,
Oh
and
man.
I never thought I'd say that before, but I got a buddy that has a place in the Keys, and I've went down there a couple times, and we go out mahi fishing, and then we'll take the bellies from the mahi and catch tarpon, and I'm like, this is the funnest shit I've ever done, dude. I mean, it is for real fun. But if you're talking bass fishing, if I was just gonna go bass fishing somewhere, um, there's only what there. You're gonna be shocked whenever I tell you this. The first place I would go, hands down, is I got a buddy that lives in Skowhegan, Maine, and I've been up there 2 or 3 times with him, and it is the best bass fishing in the country. The hands down the best. There ain't a place that compares there. They're stupid. The fish are stupid, dude.
Yeah, they
I
don't
mean,
get pressure, right? Unless you go to Lake Sebago and you have to catch them with like 80 foot of water chasing Cisco and alewives. But I've heard like all the
yeah,
shallower lakes are just insane.
yeah. Like I'll tell you this: we put in at the first lake, and there's a lay down, and we were going down. We get to this lay down, and there's 6 3-pounders around this tree. Okay, my buddy takes it, flips it over there. It goes to the bottom. One goes over there, noses down on it, sucks it in. I'm like, he catches it. I'm like, did that really just happen? And he flipped back to there again and caught a second one, and then he caught a third one. I'm like, this stuff don't really happen, dude. I mean, I've never seen nothing like it, but I love it.
When the north is good, the north is a lot of fun. That is for dang sure. But
Yeah,
100%. Andy, you got anything for Matt here?
Yeah, man. I hope I hope the train starts staying on the tracks for you. It's you've had some very unfortunate events, and it's just like, dang. I hope it ends soon for you. So, man, people suck.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I think that means with all this you're going here with the events happen to you, but I think what that means is an open win and then a classic win, and then that's what it means you're destined for.
dude. I'm telling you, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. If I had a dream 3 nights ago that I want to open this year, so
Ooh.
There you go.
after that, I'm just throwing it out there. So I did have a dream that I won one. So
Fingers are crossed for you, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
I appreciate it.
So that being said, what's the career goal for you? What's the epitome?
Man, the first goal. So I fished the classic, and everybody wants to win a classic, but my goal is actually, it may be a touch different. I think it's a lot of people's goals, but I want to make the Elite Series.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I make the Elite Series, it justifies to myself, that I'm, I guess, who I feel I am. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's I feel like I'm at that level, and I need to justify it to myself that I'm at that level. And then after we make it to Elite Series, we're gonna swing the hell out of a bat, buddy. We're gonna we're gonna try to bring as many of them blue trophies home as we can.
I can already see the lineup on the deck of the boat here. You got like hollow belly bass tricks on the left, and a couple glide baits on the right, and just swing for it every tournament. Like we're here, we're going last or first.
Yeah, I will. Listen, you mark my words. Y'all remember this whenever it happens. I will win a major event on a glide bait. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. I'll
Love it.
not be this year, but I will win a major one on it. Whenever I get one that sets up for it. It's hard because it's the way the tournaments fall. A lot of them don't set up for it, but whenever it does, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the live coverage at all today from Santee Cooper?
Man, I watched the first little bit of it, just pieces. I was actually watching whenever Patrick Walters caught his first two keepers on a swim bait. And, man, I'm going to tell you something. Like, I'll tell you something that a lot of people don't know is the second day of the Open at Hartwell last week, I run into Patrick on the water. I was fishing the cane pile, and he was up there on a point. And I asked him if you got him, Pat? And he's like, yeah, I got about 15 pounds. I was like, good, dude, you know? And he's like, you got him? I said, no, I just got 4 little ones. He's like, dude, he's like, it's cloudy. He's like, pick up a fluke and go run these points. He said, you see how shallow I am? I'm like, yeah. He's like, get up there this shallow. He said, run these points. And I have never had, listen, I liked Patrick before, and I've known him for a couple of years now. But he gained so much respect. There is not, I don't know any other angler to ever do anything like that you're competing against, to go out there and help another competitor like that while you're on the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah. I actually lost. I mean, I ain't talking about lost fish, but I did lose 3 real big ones on the fluke. And I didn't really lose them; they just missed it. You know, sitting there missing it 2 or 3 times, looking at them. But like I pulled for Patrick 100%. Like whenever I saw him catching those fish, I was like, "All right, buddy, light him up." You know?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
he's a hell of a dude. He deserves it.
That's awesome. I can think of one other time on Bassmaster where something like that happened when Octafo at the Mississippi River a few years ago was struggling on the final day, and Swindle told him where to go catch him, and he ended up catching the fire out of him with like an hour left. He ultimately won that event because Swindle helped him out and told him where to go.
Is that whenever he caught him in the spillway up there?
Yeah, when he caught him like the first 3 days on the spillway, and the 4th day they just fizzled out.
Yeah.
And he's like running all over the place.
You know, I like Ott, but you know, he won the classic like that with Keith Poche, you know, at the porta potty.
Yeah.
Before the weigh-in was over. I might start hanging out a little bit after the weigh-ins instead of rushing back to the room, man.
Right.
Taking note of the play.
Man. Yeah. Keith Poche definitely gave him that classic, that's for sure.
Yeah. I've gotten to know Keith pretty well, and I really like him. I think Ott's a great guy as well, you know.
Yeah.
I like.
No doubt. And I'm talking about Swindle too. He seems like one of the most down earth people, you know, I've never met the guy, but it seems like from the outside view he is. I mean, last night I was rewatching Polnick and Swindle's AOI speeches. It's something I kind of go back and I watch old AOI speeches and different things like that, because I mean, you go back and you watch and listen to these things, you can kind of pick up stuff that you might not have picked up before, and it's kind of cool to kind of hear their thought process. And it was really cool, the scene of when Polnick just won his AOI and he's backstage. And you just see it cut last second of Swindle walking away and goes, "I'm real proud of you." And it's like you can see, obviously, he took the time to go back there and congratulate him. And it just kind of shows how a lot of these guys are class acts. It's pretty cool to kind of see the camaraderie. But it's cool to see that in fishing, because you don't. you don't see it on like the social media sort of deal. And if it is, majority of the time it's kind of that fake stuff. You don't really see a lot of that the genuine, just guys helping each other out sort of deal. It's like everyone's here to make a living out of it. Help you out sometimes. So it's pretty cool.
It's almost like a brotherhood,
Right.
I mean, every time I see Swindle, he talks to me, just like anybody else. He's a great guy. I'll tell you a story a lot of people don't know about me and Brandon is I've actually known Brandon since 2008, and me and him go way back. We actually qualified for a TBF National Championship at Lake Wiley in South Carolina. Maybe it's North Carolina, Charlotte, wherever it is, and we actually roomed together. They put us in the same room together. He was 18 and I was 20. And dude, like, I bust him out on it. He's the luckiest person I ever seen in my life. Dude lost his tackle in the mail. Okay, lost his tackle in the mail, and we're in the room, and so he's trying to see what he can do. Well, here comes, pure Abu, pure fishing, Berkeley, bringing rods, reels. I'm talking about boxes of baits. I'm talking about big boxes. I'm talking about like 2 foot by 3 foot by 1.5 foot tall, loaded down with them old gripper jigs, anything you can think of. And I'm sitting there like, I'm 20 years old, I ain't got a pot to piss in. I'm like, shit, I lost my stuff.
It's like, man, you want to share?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's got over there?
Well, and but yeah, me and Brandon go way back, dude. I've known him for a long time. We're not like best friends, but dude, I'm gonna tell you, Brandon's a great guy, and he talks to. I mean, dude, I can't say enough about him. If somebody doesn't like Brandon, I have a real problem.
One of the coolest things I've seen was Polnick's video. Where was it? I want to say it was the Classic this past March. The video from the expo where he's speaking with the deaf gentleman and explaining to him how he works a bait, and he's using he's taking the time to talk to him and use his hand signals to show him. He's trying to represent a boulder and how he tries to maybe I think he's working a jig or something different, but the way he was describing it and taking the time, it shows it right there. You can just see it. It's pretty awesome. But without a doubt.
Yeah, whenever the most, I don't think a lot of people realize, and they don't even think about it, but the most valuable thing you have that anybody owns is their time, because you never get it back. And whenever something like Brandon takes the time out of his day for anybody, regardless of who they are, that means a lot. That he's willing to take the time out of his day to help either a fan, a fellow bass angler, or anybody.
Right. Yeah.
Speaks volumes.
Yeah, dude.
So Matt, we got one last question that I'd like to ask everybody in the show. But before we get to that, what's left for you in the fall? What's coming up tournament wise? What do you got left on the schedule until 2021?
Man, well, I actually got a lot left. I got to leave a week from tomorrow to go to Neely Henry, and then we actually leave straight from Neely Henry to go to Cherokee for an open. Both those are Bass Opens, and then I'm off for 5 days, and then I go to Pickwick for the Bass Nation National Championship, and then I think I'm off. Oh no, I think I'm off a week or so. Go to Louisville Lake for another open, and and then come to Alabama in December. Man, I gotta tell you, I got a full next month and a half, but I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah.
Well, let's hope things start on the upswing here for you. Through all that adversity, you still lit their fire up a couple times. So, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it'll turn around, man. I've been down this road before. I don't know if I've been down it this bad, but I know it'll turn.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. Well, Matt, dude, it's been a pleasure, but we got our one last question for you, and then we're going to wrap things up. We don't want to take up too much time of your time for today. Sounds like you could use a beer and a good night's rest. But our last question for you is if you could invite any three people to sit down, have a steak and a beer, and pick their brain, who would you invite? And they don't have to be the fishing industry. They can be somebody from 400 years ago or somebody current. Be anybody in the world. Who would you invite to sit down and pick their brain and have a few drinks?
Well, the first one probably be Carmen Electra. And I really don't know if I'd care what her answers would be, but I thought good to look at, just in case the other two.
So are we talking about her now, like 15 years ago in her prime?
I'm going to tell you what, I don't know if it'd matter. I'll be honest with you, boys. Carmen Electra, not in her prime, is still probably better than, the majority. So
fair.
Yeah,
it's
I'll
a fair
go
point.
one, okay? Electra. My wife's sitting here looking at me. Oh, man. Shoot. Two other people, man. Golly.
Any childhood heroes?
So I probably said to you, Jimmy Houston, as far as fishing wise, probably sat down and have a chat with Jimmy Houston. I talked to him once, and I'm pretty like he's the only guy I'm actually starstruck by to anybody. It sounds kind of weird. But as far as anybody else, probably y'all know who Tom Green is from Freddie Got Fingered?
Oh, yeah. Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Yeah. I want to sit down and ask him if he likes some sausage now.
Yeah.
Daddy.
Like, I want to know why he decided to make that movie or be like the lead role in that movie. It's a very Tom Green movie, but it's like, jeez.
Oh, yeah. What made you want to go make cheese sandwiches for a living, in the factory?
Right.
I mean, it's an awesome movie. But
it's hilarious. If you've never seen it, Bailey, you have to watch it.
I'm going to have to. I have to look it up.
It's a good one.
He hasn't seen it?
Bailey hasn't. I've seen it a handful of times.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't. No, I'm going to have to look that up.
It's a classic.
Carmen Green and Jimmy Houston.
I like it.
Tom Green.
I like it.
Perfect. It's a good lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
man. Somebody
Yeah.
top them.
Well, dude, we definitely want to say thank you for taking time out of your day, out of your hectic day, to sit down and talk fishing with us and share your story. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to cheering you on these next few tournaments, and maybe bring you back on in the off season to talk about what's coming up for 2021.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks again.
You're always welcome, man, and take care, and hopefully that truck fix goes well for you, and you'll be back on the road and getting to smash some fish here soon. Yeah,
no doubt. I may have to go get me a new one. It's been crossing my mind. So, but yeah, we'll make something work out.
When in doubt, drop $60,000 on a new truck.
Oh, no,
Perfect.
no one. I'm talking about a 10-year-old one for about 20, dude.
Perfect.
I can't afford it.
Well, it's just the average American way. You buy things that are 3 times expensive than what you can afford, and then you wonder why you're struggling all the time. So that's actually good on you, man, for doing that. So I drive almost a 10-year-old pickup myself, so I get it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Nope.
I appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, you have a good night and travel safe coming up.
Yeah. Take care. We'll be in touch.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See you later. Well, dude, that was a blast.
Fun times.
That dude is a character.
I gotta get me an Onum hat. Like,
I know.
I feel like that fits my persona.
I need to get one 100%. We're gonna rock it on the podcast just for him.
Perfect.
Dude, I would love to have him on, just like, and not even scrap that. I would love to go down and sit like a poker table with him and like, you know what? I would love to have had like a hot mic at on the boat with him, Pat Renwick, and Seth Fighter. That had to have been an insanely hilarious day.
Oh God, I can only imagine how many laughs were shared on that one.
Yeah, that sounds like a great episode of Harry, Curly, and Moe. That's what that sounds like. That's and for good reason. Yeah,
that's a fair judgment call.
Thank you. Yeah, huge thank you to Matt for taking the time out. For those who have not seen or have not heard, he had like what $15,000 stolen out of his truck.
I believe that was a Rayburn event. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he had a semi clip his truck or something like that at the gas station. The dude just has not caught a break this year for 2020, but it's definitely setting up for him to have a big breakthrough coming up here soon. And the dude is a freaking hammer, so we all know he'll bounce back and he'll be good. So he keeps a positive attitude about it. I know for one, I would be freaking out personally with my mind, but he obviously has a great positive outlook about it, which is really good. But 100% do. But huge shout out to our sponsors. Thank you guys for all your support. If you guys are looking to get some premium tungsten Queen tackle, you can use code SeriousAngler20 at checkout. Save yourself 20% off. The one thing I want to talk about with Queen, dude, is I'm excited to use these finesse football jigs this spring. Not this spring, excuse me, this fall. I'm definitely going to be throwing those a little bit. And I'll put it out there right now. I'm going to throw it at Keuka when we fish that one. Unless we fish that Erie Derb, which I'll probably
I don't know what's going on. They're doing one on November 1st as of now, but I can't fish it. So I don't know if they're going to do one on the 7th as well. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. But guys, yeah, if you haven't heard Queen Tackle, because they have not made their way up to the Northeast just yet. I met them actually down with Jeff Queen and them down at the Classic. But I highly recommend taking a chance on a new brand. Get yourself some Queen Tackle jigs and tungsten, and you will not regret it. I promise you. But yeah, huge shout out taking out the Morgan Marine Hobie tomorrow. Taking that puppy out. We're gonna go fish all day tomorrow. To get on some big old small jaws. Maybe take a few hours. Go try to find some big greenheads too, and see what we can mix up. I'm going to a lake that I haven't been to by 3 years.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you know what?
I put it in your brain.
I'll thank you when it pays off.
It'll pay off. It's the fall.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we got the Amped Outdoors battery charging right now, getting ready for tomorrow. Gonna rock that angler button. Hopefully, get the crap out of it, and see how many miles we can put in tomorrow. I might even go around the whole lake.
Won't take you very long.
No. That probably includes people in where we're going, but it is what it is. But yeah, so if you guys have not seen already, if you're in the Northeast, get signed up for that Douglas Big Money Open October 24th, 25th on Lake Erie.
Pray the wind stops blowing.
Yeah. Get yourself a big fat check by catching some big old fat small jaws. Hopefully the weather cooperates and that'll be a good tournament. So yeah. We shall see. But either way, if not, dude, we're going fishing one way or another.
That is true.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have anything else you got for the folks tonight?
I am good tonight.
All right, man. I don't know who's going to be our Friday podcast just yet because this is Thursday, the week prior that we were recording this. But we're going to figure out who's going to – we got some big guests coming on, a lot of awesome and talented people, and really looking forward to it. But as always, thank you guys again for watching and listening. We'll see you guys next time.